This is a video for the Language and Humanities Project 2020, a year of seismic change. This video is for the topic of social media, and the overarching question that we are answering is to what extent has the social media landscape changed in 2020? Year 9, your question for this topic is to what extent can the purposeful use of language on social media promote the views or opinions of a person? This video will help you to understand that question in a little bit more detail, as well as give you some ideas of what you can do for this project. Remember, for this project, you can get 25 credits from your form tutor, as well as being able to win other prizes, including an iPad. This project will be marked on your effort, content, and creativity. Firstly, I would just like to help you to understand some of the key terms within that question. And a big thing that we need to understand is what actually is social media. Social media is computer-based technology that helps the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through the building of virtual networks and communities. What that means is that social media is a place where people go to share their ideas and to join in discussions around key topics. By design, social media is internet-based and gives users quick electronic communication of content. This means that you can have those discussions really quickly, and you can find out more information about certain topics really easily, using things like the hashtag. Social media includes apps like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, as well as many others. To help you to answer this question, you also need to understand what is meant by the phrase, the purposeful use of language. Just like a lot of things in life, we also have a choice in how we use language. We are able to choose what words or phrases we use in order to get a certain reaction. This is called our purposeful choice of language, and it is our conscious choice of words and phrases to get that reaction or to get that discussion that we want. For instance, you might choose different words to use in a formal context, like school, compared to an informal context, such as being with your friends. This choice of language also happens on social media, and people choose purposefully their language on social media platforms in order to get certain reactions, as well as to help to promote their views and opinions. This question, Year 9, is wanting you to look at this purposeful use of language on social media to see how people use language in order to promote their views and opinions. So how can you start to complete your project? We will talk you through different steps that will help you in your independent research and help you to understand what you need to do in order to complete this project. Step 1. The first thing you need to do is research the use of language on social media. You can make note of any interesting language choices or any post that seems to have a big reaction. Start to think, why has that post got such a big reaction? Is it to do with the use of language in that post? Step 2. You need to start to choose the examples that you are going to use in your project and analyse to help you to answer this question. Remember, these can change later in the project if you find some more examples that you would rather work with. Try to pick a big range in this step so that you can set yourself up really well for the rest of your project. Step 3. You need to research how your examples have promoted the views or opinions of a person. So you can look at what words and phrases has that person chosen to use. Why do you think they have chosen to use those specific words and phrases? And what impact has that choice had? And remember, the word impact can be both positive or negative, so you need to decide what that impact is. And finally, you need to start to think, has that purposeful use of language helped to promote their opinion? And you can look at how that has helped or why potentially that hasn't helped. In step 4, you need to start to form your judgment. So to what extent do you agree or disagree with that question? The information on the next slide will help you to understand what that phrase "to what extent" means. Finally, step 5 is starting to create your project. Look later in the PowerPoint for some project ideas of what you can do. Your question, Year 9, is specifically phrased to say to what extent can the purposeful use of language on social media promote the views or opinions of a person. Now you need to understand what that phrase "to what extent" requires you to do. It requires you to form an opinion based on how much you agree or disagree with the question. You can use this diagram in the video to help you. For instance, you might significantly agree with the question, but also you might strongly disagree or somewhat disagree. Those key phrases will help you to answer the "to what extent" part of your question. For this project, remember you need to use your own independent research to form your opinion on how much you agree with the question. We will look at some examples of the purposeful use of language together in order to help you to understand what you need to do. This tweet from Piers Morgan is our first example. The first way he uses language to promote an opinion is that he uses quite provocative language, such as "doesn't have the guts." He wants to get a reaction by using this phrase, and he's promoting his opinion through creating this reaction to it. The more people that react and interact with this tweet, the more people will see his opinion. Therefore, by purposefully choosing language that creates a bigger reaction, he is actually spreading his opinion further and wider. Also, you need to think about the audience of his tweets. There will be lots of television watchers or people that follow celebrities, so he can afford to be more casual, open and honest with his opinions. In addition, he is retweeting somebody directly. This again creates a bigger audience and he directly challenges other people's opinions. Again, this is quite risky, but he does it to get that interaction and that reaction from people on Twitter. Finally, as a figure of influence, Piers does not necessarily need to worry about the consequences of his use of language. He has power, so he can be open in his opinions, such as saying, "I do, yes, I have this question," and his question is creating that reaction by using provocative language and phrases such as "doesn't he have the guts to come on?" A second example of purposeful use of language on social media is this tweet from the Ruth Gore Academy. It starts off asking rhetorical questions, which helps to promote engagement from other followers. In this case, the question is, do you know how safe your children are whilst gaming online? It catches people's attention and makes them think about this question and want to read on. They also use hashtags to increase engagement and link to wider topics and trending discussions on this issue. This tweet is a lot more formal than the tweet we saw by Piers Morgan. Because the tweet is directly associated with the Academy, it must be professional and therefore must use formal language. Also, the Ruth Gore Academy here has decided on purpose to link and use other credible organisations. This is sharing knowledge and resources and make sure that what the Academy shares is accurate, factual and helpful. Again, this tweet is using language on purpose to create the reaction and the impact that they want. Here are some useful sources and links that you can use for your project. The first video looks at the language of emojis and how emojis on social media are again a purposeful choice. You can use this as part of your analysis of language used on social media. The second video looks at the effect of new technologies on English and how our language has actually developed as a consequence of using social media. The last video on this slide looks at the importance of language and carefully choosing the words that we use. Again, really useful for your question, which looks at the purposeful use of language. There are some more useful sources and links for your project on this slide. These two videos look at what we call social linguistics, and this is the relationship between language and society. These videos look at in particular why people choose to use the language that they use, particularly in a social media context. This will be really useful for you to understand your project in more detail. There are also other links to websites and articles on this slide. Please feel free to look at the articles if you want to push your research a little bit further. There are also ideas of what social media platforms you can look at when you do your independent research. So how can you actually present this project? There are many different ways that you can present your work in this project. You could do a PowerPoint presentation, a written project such as an essay, even a piece of artwork, a poster, a poem and a short story. You could also create a project book or even create a model or a painting. Remember, this is your project and we want you to show us just how hard you have worked on it and be as creative as possible, as that is one of the categories that you get judged on throughout this project. So what now? Really simply, it is now time for you to begin working on your projects. You can start with your own independent research and thinking about the project using the ideas that we have discussed within this video. Remember, you get marked for effort, content and creativity, and there are lots of prizes available, including those 25 credits from your form tutor, as well as an iPad that you could win for this project. You should try to spend about 8 to 10 hours on this project, and we are so excited and so looking forward to seeing all of the fantastic projects that you create.
We have got some incredibly exciting summer homework projects planned for you guys. So there are 2 projects available for each year group, one under the heading of STEM and the other a year of seismic change. It's really important that you answer one question from each of these projects. When you go onto our website and have a look at some of these questions, you will find they are incredibly interesting and provide you with an opportunity to research and create some fantastic project ideas. You will be wondering how your projects will be marked. So in September, form tutors will mark each project based on the following criteria: effort, content and creativity. They will award a grade 1 to 4 in each category, with 1 being outstanding. Just want to give you a few top tips on how you can achieve an outstanding grading in each of these. It's really important that as part of your research that you do for each of these projects, that you show that you have gone above and beyond. Present your work in a creative and unique way to catch the attention of your audience, and think about the content that you include within each project. It's really important that the content that you include answers the question that has been set to you. For every grade 1 you achieve, your name will be entered into a prize draw. There's a separate prize draw for each category: effort, content and creativity. And if you get a grade 1 in all 3, you will have the chance to enter a 4th prize draw. So to the best bit then, how will you be rewarded? So for completing each project, you will receive 25 credits from your form tutor. So 25 credits for the STEM project and 25 credits for completing a year of seismic change project. So in total, by completing these 2 projects, you will be eligible for 50 credits come September. That is equivalent to a bronze certificate. In addition to the 50 credits, there's a fantastic opportunity here for you to win an Apple iPad. Now, there are 4 prize draws available to you depending on the grading you secure on effort, content and creativity. If your form tutor awards you with a grade 1 for any of the 3 categories, your name will be entered into the prize draw for these. Additionally, if you achieve a grade 1 in effort, content and creativity, all 3 criteria, your name will be entered into a 4th prize draw as well, increasing your chances of winning an iPad. Both projects will be marked separately, therefore there is an opportunity here for your name to be entered 8 different times. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact your academy by the info@ email address. We are incredibly excited about these projects and cannot wait to see the work that you produce. And most importantly, we can't wait to welcome you back in September.